some technical difficulties. Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? It's us. We're back.
It's us. We're back, and we are working on Johnny from MIB here because he's having difficulty getting in.
Yeah, he's having some problems, but David's going to be working with him on the phone, and we're going to continue on because we
Yeah, I'm
we
trying here.
we respect everybody's time, and y'all are here, and
Yeah,
you know, and we want to continue on. And if he comes on, great, wonderful. We'll have some good, lively talk. If not, then we're gonna just move on and schedule it for another
I
day.
guess. And he had been on before.
Yeah,
He
he
had been on
has.
before.
So I don't know what's going on, but you know how it is. So we got some people here. We got our good friend Kay Munin, and we got our great friend Stone Sour. We got Custom God. How are you? My two favorite channels and my favorite subject matter, Miko Rules.
Yeah,
We got Chris is here. Time to surge with
we're
MIB.
trying.
We're trying.
We are
Hopefully
trying
we get everything
because
worked
I've
out.
got him here on Facebook, and I'm trying to sort it out, and he can't seem to get connected.
Hey John, how are you? And he has tried Chrome. So I know
Hmm.
many of you may say, "Oh, tell him to try Chrome."
Yeah, he says he
And
did.
he's done that. So hopefully everything works out.
Hopefully that works out. We're trying here.
Yeah, Did you hear the rumor about Disney having Sonic 3 delisted from websites? Apparently, they're upset that Sonic beat Mufasa at the box office. Can they do that? And what is delisted from websites? What does that mean? Can they even do that?
Pulling it down from from their services. And there's Mickle Stapler. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, we don't. Are we getting snow? I don't know.
No,
I don't know if we're getting any
I don't
snow.
think so. We were looking at the weather thing. It's way above us. It's like a two states above us or a state above us. So I don't know. It's cold. We know that much. Hey, Reynard, how are you? And then we have Lee. Hey, Lee. And
Hmm.
okay, you're talking to me.
Yeah, as we try to work things out here with Johnny, and he's right on here,
And we hope that you
and
had a,
there he is. I mean, trying to trying to communicate with me.
and we hope y'all had a very uneventful week, that it was slow going because you went back to work for 2 days, 2 whole days, and it wasn't an eventful thing. It was just nice and easy going because you're getting back into the new year. So hopefully you've been doing good. Well, try your best, and we are. And then we got
Yeah,
Raccoon Eyes here, and we have Legends
yeah,
is
especially
present.
in the world of Migo right now. There's a lot to discuss because there's a lot going on,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things that are things that are interesting, things that are confusing, things
Yeah.
that are
And Johnny, he always has his finger on the pulse of
Migo.
Migo, and he's like our resident Migo expert. So when it comes to things like that, he's the go-to guy to talk to and figure out, what's going on, and just get his insight and somebody else's perspective. From what's being said, Disney has told multiple sites to delist Sonic 3 and to list Mufasa as the number. Wow,
Well, that movie
it's
is
been talked
tanking.
about now for over a week. Wow. I didn't, well, it's not surprising that you can do that
Yeah,
and those things
in
are
the modern
done.
era.
It's just like you can't accept the fact that you put out garbage and nobody like it. So you're going to lie and let it go down in history that a crappy movie you made that nobody liked, you had to lie to get it on number to be number one. And it's just like with music. You get artists, they pay to have their songs or their albums go to number one. Nobody ever heard of them songs. Nobody listened to that mess. You pay the radio stations to put it into heavy rotation. So it's not surprising. It's just sad that you got to stoop to such levels to look like you're number one when
But
you really aren't. And people nowadays in this time period knows that Disney is crap. And for the last, when did Lion King come out?
I was in the 90s.
In the night. So we'll say from
Yeah.
2000. So for the last 25 years, Disney has put out nothing but garbage. For the last, we'll say since 2000, just to, for a round number. For the last 25 years, they've done nothing but put out garbage. Hey, Austin, how are you? So that's the game they want to play. And then people will look back in 20 years and say, oh, Mufasa came out. That was number one for 2025 because it came out the end of 2024. And the reality is, it wasn't. On New Year's Eve, I saw the movie Beetlejuice, and Joker 2. Okay.
That's Johnny
Yeah,
Frozenick.
and Johnny says that he's
Still
still
working
working
on it.
on it,
Oh,
guys.
Johnny guy. Did
Yeah.
you get the email, Johnny? Because I sent it to him on Facebook and I sent it in the email. And I asked if he had Instagram, and I don't think he does.
My coworkers, okay, so we're talking to Mickle. My coworkers were in a good mood today, so it was chill day at work. I work with all, oh Lord, I feel bad for you. And I've learned quick, they don't want to hear my opinion. They're cool though. I've worked with women before, and I never want to do that again. The majority of the time that I've always worked in a male dominant, and it's usually been men, and they're pretty cool. The majority of them are okay to work with, but when you start adding women in there, that's one that I'd rather just not take the job or quit. Because I mean, they can be awful and ruthless for just no reason. It's like, I have nothing to do with you. Why are you bothering me?
Yeah.
I can't take your job from you because we don't even do the same thing. We ain't even in the same department. They don't care. I mean, I miss James Earl Jones as much as the next person. Having said that, I doubt even he is currently going.
Well, they gotta justify all that money laundering. So the expense of those films make no sense. It makes absolutely no freaking sense, the amount of money that is spent on these movies. I think they, not counting advertising, just production costs on Mufasa was over $200 million.
Wow.
Okay. Now, here's the question for everybody. Okay. Did you see Godzilla -1?
No.
Because there's a real important point here. No, you didn't see it, but Godzilla -1. Did you see it? Did you like the film? Let me just ask you here really quickly. Munin says Disney's been getting shredded online for this. Sonic 3 has not even been released worldwide yet, so eventually it'll beat out Mufasa by a lot more than it is now. And Reston has joined us.
Hey,
or
Reston.
Retro Style.
Oh, Retro. Hey.
And Munin says LPH said it best. They're putting out garbage. Mufasa was not well received. And Mickle says, to clarify, they are set in their ways and don't want to change. They're nice most of the time, but look out when they're mad, which always seems to happen on the same day. Now, if you watched Godzilla -1, which was Chris says, is there an OBC phone hotline for MIB to call into if the link won't work out? I don't know. And Custom God did see that film. Says, I saw Godzilla -1 minus color. It was awesome. The thing is, because that film just came out, that was like last year. The budget, US $15 million. And obviously a ton of CGI in it. It's 15 million. 15 million. Mufasa, over 200. These films have this, and some of them have these insane budgets, and then they don't pan out, and that's again just production. So they spent 200 million on Mufasa. How much did they spend on advertising on top of that? Another 150 million dollars. Are they going to make it back? No. Where's that money going? But then you've got Godzilla minus one, which is also a film with a lot of CGI. $15 million, which means it can be done and looks better. That looks more realistic than what you're getting with Mufasa. John says in 2012 they were concerned about Disney buying Star Wars. My concern was justified. And Pastor Rick is here.
Pastor Rick,
Glad you
and
could
then
make
we
it
got
today.
David Mickle.
Yeah.
Is
How is
here.
it going? Blue Splash. We're working on it. We're having a lot of technical problems.
Yeah.
Because Johnny is there. He's in the chat here, and he is not, for whatever reason, able to get in. I don't know if he has to. I don't know what he would have to do from the outside. Because we, who was it? Who was it? Alan had trouble before too. It took him a while to figure it out.
And then, but he had been on before with no problems, and then one day he had a problem, and it took him a while. So he was behind.
He was in late.
Yeah.
And Retro
hey,
is
Retro
here.
Collector, how are you?
He says, long time subscriber, first time chatter.
Well, thank you for jumping on and just saying hi. So it's nice to see some of the people that's in the background that we usually don't see.
Eric Peter said, minus one had no known American actors requiring a $15 million paycheck each. Yeah, that doesn't help either.
Yeah, you got all of these greedy
insane amounts of money that some of them demand for starring in a film, and the modern stars don't have that kind of star power or that kind of pull anymore. I don't think we have those kinds of like legacy celebrities anymore.
No.
That like if they're going to be in a film, you know it's going to be something. They don't have that star power anymore. Even the big ones, the ones you would expect to be legacy actors, like again Harrison Ford, who's going to be evidently Thunderbolt Ross, aka the Red Hulk at this point. And I'm like, why? He can't do it anymore. You can't even understand what he says when he speaks anymore. His voice is so worn out and gravelly. He can barely speak, and it's like that. It sounds absolutely terrible. You could have found someone else, but you're trying to get that draw from Harrison Ford as a celebrity actor, but that draw is dead because he has killed all of his legacies. He'll take any part if the check's big enough. And he has been part of the destruction of the Star Wars franchise, the destruction of the Indiana Jones franchise, and the crippling of the Blade Runner franchise, which were his three biggest things. Oh, wow.
Hearing that Disney wanted to buy Sega did not set well with me, says K Mutant. Who knows how bad they would ruin franchises like Sonic.
Where'd they even get the money?
Among many others. I don't know. It seems like they're just buying up everything.
Johnny says that Restream locked him out.
Oh, no. How can Restream lock you out?
I have no idea.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea how that works. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating. If I don't know.
I don't know what to do now, then.
We had all that buildup.
I know.
I know.
I wanted to talk to Johnny. Thumbnail too.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to use it again. We're gonna have to. If we can't get him on tonight, we'll have to do a test run.
Yeah.
And see if it can be resolved.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw the Never Ending Story. Man, I love that, says Mickle Stapler. Man, I love that film. I've shown all of my kids, and every time they hit the swamps of sadness, we're crying. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yeah, where he lost the horse. Yeah, and they want to redo that one too. And John says The Rock hurt the Black Adam movie. Yeah, he doesn't have that kind of star power draw either. A lot of people do not like Dwayne Johnson. And Chris Connolly says he blames the one-armed man. That would be The Fugitive. The Fugitive. But yeah, that's unfortunate. We're very sorry about that, Johnny.
Yeah, we're
Very
sorry to
sorry about that. I
everyone.
wanted to
We
talk. It's been a while since he's been on, and we wanted to talk to him
yeah,
again.
and we're sorry to everyone. We really wanted him to be on. I know y'all were looking forward for him
Yeah,
being on, and unfortunately, we can't get him
for
on
some reason,
because
there's some kind of issue
yeah, the
with Restream or
restream
whatever.
is being a butthole. So it's a shame how he's destroyed his own film legacies for
Hmm.
a paycheck, says Mickle. He's talking about Harrison Ford
Yes.
is openly how he hates his fans and doesn't include them and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he again, those were his three. Those are three legacy franchises that
Hmm.
he was a huge part of. He was a main character in all three of those, and he ruined it. Hell, he ruined Indiana Jones twice
Mm.
because the fourth installment was garbage. It was bad. It was just badly done. And then this last one was even worse. So he killed it twice. And then he said, "Oh, I don't want to do another one." And then when they start, "Oh, you sure you don't want to, Harrison?" And maybe. And then he craps all over it along with them. So he doesn't care about that stuff, and he doesn't need the money. I
But
mean,
I mean, can you really blame the actor for ruining it? They don't write the film, they don't direct it, they don't do any. I mean, they act,
yes, you
but
can.
that's all they do. They're not, they don't do the other stuff.
Yes, you can, because he sat at that table with his agent and that producer
Hmm.
and read that script and said, "How big's the check? Okay, I'll do it." Okay. You can't tell me he didn't read those and say, "Wow, this is going to screw up the franchise," or "Wow, this is not." And I'll use the argument of Hugo Weaving.
I don't know who that is.
You know exactly who Hugo Weaving is. He's the guy that played Agent Smith
Oh,
in the Matrix.
yeah, okay.
When they came to him with Matrix 4,
Hmm.
how good was that movie? Talk about franchise killers. Okay.
We didn't see
No,
that.
it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But they did bring Hugo Weaving to the table,
Hmm.
and he read the script and said, "This isn't Smith. This isn't Smith. I'm not comfortable with this.
Mm.
I'm willing to work with you. Maybe some rewrite. Maybe we can do something."
Hmm.
And they sent him home. They were
Uh,
like, "No, our way or the highway," and Hugo left.
mm.
Okay, so yes, Hugo said the paycheck wasn't good enough to ruin his connection to the character and
Mm.
ruin it for the fans. So yeah, and Stone Sour made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Stone Sour. We appreciate it.
Says there's always next time.
I know. I feel bad. I
I
feel
know.
bad.
I know. We really wanted him on to talk. And that's how modern technology does you. It screws you over at the last minute.
Yeah.
This K Muni says Disney has not bought Sega. It was a rumor.
Yeah.
They wanted to buy it only so they can own Sonic and not have it as their
They ruined. Yeah.
competition.
That's. I'm glad that Sega held on, but a lot of those Japanese franchises, they don't like to give things up too easily. So good kudos to them.
Yeah,
You know.
Tubi has a lot of stuff now, says
Hmm.
David Micker. We watch a lot of stuff. Martial arts films, they're really good for martial arts
Yeah,
film.
those 70s Hong Kong like cheesy blockbusters.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good for that. And cartoons, because we've been watching a lot of cartoons
Hmm.
on there. And Ultra Force is on there, and we're watching that right now. We just finished watching, excuse me, um Phantom 2040, which I thought was pretty good. They kind of ended it kind of quick. They wrapped it up kind of quick. I mean, you saw the ending coming because they were slowly building up to an end. But when it got to the final episode, they kind of slammed it on you. You're like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. You ended that pretty quick. So, but it was still good. It's worth watching. It's on, I think, Roku. It's on Roku, but it's a pretty good show. Let's see. K Muni says Harrison Ford looks awful and Dwayne Johnson comes off as a phony. A lot of people say that
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson really
it's
does look and
phony.
sound like a phony, especially after the whole candy bar thing that he filmed.
I don't know
That was
nothing about
really
that.
bad. When he went to Hawaii and
Mhm.
he did this whole big spiel about how when he was a young bodybuilder or when he was going to the gym and
Mhm.
he didn't have enough money to he didn't have enough money for food or whatever, he would go to this 7-Eleven every day and he would steal a Snickers bar for a snack. And it's like, and now so he goes back and he buys a whole box of Snickers all on film and and tells the cashier to give them away to people as recompense for his having stolen in the past. And I'm like, what the? By the way, how much was the gym membership? You can't afford a Snickers bar. And what person that is going in there for bodybuilding is going to eat a Snickers bar? Let's go there. And then you got to bring a whole camera crew to buy a box of Snickers for the cashier to maybe give away at some 7-Eleven in Hawaii in the middle of nowhere. That sounds like so much bullshit. Nobody believed that story. He got panned hard for that.
I
I
don't
just
want Disney near any Japanese franchise, let alone the company that produces whatever. One of my favorite games of all time, says K Munin. Johnny's channel is MIB Master Museum
that
1979.
is correct.
That is his YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to his YouTube channel, you can subscribe and you can find a lot of great content. He does discussion, he does toys, he does, stuff about like current toy event, current events and toys, stuff like that. And he also has a Facebook page. I
Hey,
think it's
Chris,
MIB.
while you're in there, Johnny wants to know what service you use
Mm-hmm.
when he chats with you. He's asking me to ask. He says Chris Connolly's on the live stream. I don't know what he uses, but it works every time when he invites me on.
And Chris was saying that Johnny has a great channel,
Yeah,
and it
he
is, and
does.
it is,
He's one of those people that like he's genuine about really caring about what he's doing,
yeah,
and you can tell.
yeah. You could tell when we started watching him some years back.
Hmm.
We liked his passion that he has, because you can tell that it's a genuine passion for toy collecting. Robert Online is here. What I heard there, I guess it was when I heard there were going to make Indiana Jones with or without him, and he loved the character that he didn't want to see someone else play him, even if it was a bad movie. Oh, okay. Well, that's what he says. I watched Scarecrow and Mrs. King on Tubi. I remember that. I remember that show. I remember it being on and watching it, but I don't really remember really what it was about. I'm sure it was a police drama with a man and a woman, because they had a lot of those, like
Hmm.
Hunter and Dee Dee McCoy,
Yeah.
and they had a lot of those male female um, police detective type things going on at that time.
Yeah, Eric says Harrison said he'd only come back to Star Wars, but he wanted to be killed because he wanted to have nothing to do with it. But then they paid him to come back as a force ghost later, so he still came back.
Mm.
I don't
Oh,
know.
Chris uses StreamYard.
Yeah,
Okay, we don't use Stream.
we had StreamYard once upon a time. We're on the Restream now. I mean, we still have technically the StreamYard service, but not the paid for service, the
Mm-hmm.
free service. And we look like absolute garbage on the free service. That's
Yeah.
why we switched in the first place.
Thank you, Pastor
Oh,
Rick.
Pastor Rick made a donation for the kiddie pool. Of course, we
Yes.
take care of shelter cats. We got like 18 that we're juggling right now.
And there's another one looking in the yard, and
Yeah, we saw him
he better
today.
not come in the yard.
It was a big tiger stripe with a white patch on his chest. I've never seen him before, and he was sitting at the fence line watching. And all the cats that are in our little shelter area were on alert, perked up, staring in his direction, like, "Where'd you come from, Jack?" I don't know who that was, but when the problem was, and that was the night that we had the owner of EGS Comics on,
Mm-hmm.
and EGS Grading Services,
Mm-hmm.
and he looked okay, but then we looked all right from our perspective.
Yeah.
But then when we went and rewatched it, because we check for errors and problems, we were all pixelized. We looked like absolute crap.
Yeah, it looked bad.
If you're not paying for the service, StreamYard will do that to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Happy Saturday, says Jesse. Say what? Hey Jesse, how are you? Hope you feel better. Yeah, a little cold has been going around for a while. I know I had a little sniffles for a few days. But
yeah, she wasn't
starting
feeling
to
too
feel
well.
better now though.
Johnny, what am I going to do with you? And yeah, I mean, eventually when the thing runs out, I can switch back to StreamYard again.
They just pay for it.
Pay for that. They cost about the same. It's expensive though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you going to do? Chris says he added a phone call in line for the small channel. Maybe MIB can call your cell as a call-in guest. Oh no, it's not the same if you can't see him.
Yeah, you like to see and chat and talk and stuff.
Yeah, and then you can point out the spirits as they float by behind him, because there's ghosts in his basement.
No, don't say things like that.
Little guy, they guard the place when he's asleep. It's kind of like it's like Night in the Museum at his place. If you saw that film, and the ghosts are all down there having a party. But I know. He says, MIB says, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm watching. Hey, it's all right. It's something with Restream.
Yeah.
And we'll try to get it sorted. I feel bad, Johnny.
Yeah.
Because we've been looking forward to talking to you. We wanted to talk about Migo and throw some things out there. Don't, Johnny, there's no ghost. He says enough with the ghost. There's
I know. Why you keep messing with him?
That's just an inside joke. He knows there's nothing down there.
Yeah, but that's why you can't tell people nothing, because they don't know how to let stuff go.
There's no room for ghosts with those like radioactive mutated rats that are hiding down there.
All of his action figures and GI Joes are protecting him.
Yeah, they come to life at night and they dance around.
It is good to have you here, Johnny.
Yes, John. Thank you for that. I just because I mean, MIB, he's a good guy. Again, he's one of those people that really does care about what he's doing. He's a action figure aficionado, as it were, stickler for things that are in perfect condition. He likes original packaged sealed items. And so do I. Custom says you can still talk about Migo.
Yeah, we can. And one thing I wanted to mess with Johnny about, because he did a video. I can't remember what figure it was, but he had like the Spanish version. And then I told him he got to go out and get the American version.
The English version too.
So he can have a complete set. Because some people are like that. Yeah. It's like, okay, you get, and we've kind of talked about this before. What do you do when you've completed a line? Yeah. And some people will go out and find every foreign version there is, or variant, or if they mistakenly get a foreign version, then they're like, oh man, I got to get the American version or English version because this one is in Italian, is in Japanese, or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's something that a lot of people do, and you can find that in comic books. And I was at a comic show, and they had a book. I want to say it was the Spider-Man number 50 that I had been wanting. And the guy had, like, I don't know, an Argentinian version. And it was ultra cheap. And I was like, man, that's the book, but I can't read it. So I mean, you can say you got it, but
and there are people that collect like all versions of stuff like that. They collect all versions like that. And John reminds us Johnny doesn't open packages.
No,
those figures behave themselves. They're trapped. They're trapped in there. They're in action figure jail. And Mickle says that him and his son's been playing Donkey Kong Country on SNES, having a blast. Got the idea from David when you mentioned you like the older consoles. They're more fun, I think. They're a lot more fun. To me, they are. And there is Lou from
Hey
My
Lou,
Migo
how are
Like.
you?
Yeah, Lou, we can't. Johnny can't get on. He can't figure it out. There's something wrong.
Because Johnny using his cell phone, he don't have a computer like everybody else do. He want to play around on his
Is
cell
that what it
phone
is?
and do all that. No, I'm messing with Johnny.
We don't know
He
what
knows
we
it.
don't know what the problem
No,
is.
it's all this stupid technology. They say that it makes your life better and
Yeah.
makes it easier, and in a lot of cases it does, but in a lot of cases it doesn't
When
because you
we
can't get in.
because when they went to 5G, I had more problems. It's 5G, you'll be able to do this and that, and it's like, no, I can't even get a damn text on time. Since they switched to 5G, it's all screwed up.
Man, today we went to this comic book slash record shop. We haven't been there in a long time,
Yeah,
but we were in the area, so we stopped by, and that is in a little tiny strip mall. I don't know, maybe about eight to 10 stores are in this little strip mall, and they got jammers. You can't get a signal out because I saw two records, and I was like, oh, let me verify them.
yeah.
Another guy, he's looking at comics. He's trying to
He's
pull
trying to
some
look on his
stuff up.
phone.
So I walk outside, and there's a guy outside down the street where they were doing some things with cars. He's trying to get on his phone. So we both walk into the end of the building, still can't get on our phones. I had to go all the way across the street, turn the phone off, turn it back on just to get a signal. And it's like, why do you need to jam your signal? And I know they do that in like, it's like a Walmart or a Target around here. You go in there, you try to use your phone, you can't. It's like, why are you doing that in the store? What's the point in that? I don't know.
So that people can't research to see if they're getting a good price or not, because they're going to look at eBay's completed auctions.
Or like if you have Walmart, you can price check,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh no, I can go down the Big Lots or Family Dollar, and they got it. But
But
I don't know.
with Migo, and I see display name is here,
Hey, display name, how are
and
you?
MIB reminds us that it was the driving
Yeah, the
recycling trucks,
recycling truck.
Spanish and English, and you told him to get it in just Spanish or just English rather. And John wants to know if Johnny ever got a gem figure to go with Rio.
Oh,
But see who else is here. But yeah, Lou says that that's because Johnny's using a speak and spell.
oh, that's why. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
speak and spell. But with the Migo, of course, the whole big fiasco, and hopefully we can get John on another time. Um, they had the 4-pack that came out for the Disney, and that's why they're in the news now. They
Yeah.
had the 4-pack that came out for Disney, and it had the four figures in retro style boxes that look like the classic ones, Spider-Man related, but one figure was a new one, and that was the Electro. Okay, and you could only get it in the theme park or online. And so everybody's like, why the hell would you do that? Well, the same reason that they were only in Target to begin with. And I've been cussed out by people in Migo forums for this, but I firmly believe this. I don't care if Marty denies it to his grave. The reason that happened with Target was because Target has an incentive program for up and comers.
They do.
That if we will front you the money, it's like Shark Tank. We'll front you the money for, whatever. Usually it's like a 2-year window. You only sell at Target. And you do it the way we tell you to do it. So it's a way to get going if you're breaking into the market or getting back into the market, which Migo was at the time. And everybody's like, why are you only selling it at Target? Why are you selling Tootie? Why are you selling Norm from Cheers? Whatever. That's a Target contract. I don't care what they say. And I've been like reamed by people from Migo forums for that, because the upper tier of people involved, they don't like any kind of negative feedback, unfortunately, and which is a bad thing, because you're not going to grow if you're not willing to accept negative feedback. And that's not negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not negative to say that, but they did have some bad choices. Tootie is the big joke. Tootie from Facts of Life,
Yeah.
because it's like, who wants Facts of Life action figures? That's the kind of crap that Mego was doing back in the 70s and 80s that caused them problems, like the Waltons. Who wants action figures of the Waltons? You know, I do now. I might want that now as an adult just for the nostalgia of it. But back then, no kids sitting there wanting to play with Grandma and Grandpa Walton action figures, okay? That didn't make sense. Or Love Boat. It's like, ooh, mama, I really want me some Love Boat figures. I want Doc and Isaac. Sure, that was really going to happen in 1980. They're bad choices. It's always been for them superheroes and sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sells, and horror.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got that dialed in finally, and it works. And their price point is under $20. It works. I think this is because of Disney and the people that own the rights to the Spider-Man characters, with Sony, right? That they said, you want to do it, we're going to do it like this. Also, they don't want a fiasco like what's currently going on with the Hasbro crossover with GI Joe, because it's on. I mean, they only made something like 4,000 units,
Mm-hmm.
and that was what, almost 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But right now they're on clearance at Hasbro Pulse. They didn't even move 4,000 sets. They're $15 on Hasbro Pulse right now, and they're still there. They never moved. Disney's probably looking at things like that and saying, okay, you know what? Yeah, amigo, let's see what we can do. And they wanted to keep the numbers low, and they wanted to keep it in a way, in a place that, yeah, John says, yeah, we have to remember Migo's only been back for 7 years. And they don't like the term new Migo, but it is new Migo. Chris says, self-promoting here. I have the 4-pack and reviewed on my channel. Okay.
Okay, so what's the name of your channel?
Yes.
So everybody can know and go check it
Yep.
out. So if they want to finally go spend that money, they can.
And this
Hey,
Brian
Brian, how are
Sanchez, he
you?
says Johnny has a box of Tooties. Well, quit sending them to him. Everybody gives him Tootie. And MIB says he loves the 4-pack. Hopefully, I will get them soon.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks good. It presents good, and I'll give them credit for managing to keep their average figure still under $20. You know, I know people complain about the bandless bodies or whatever. Okay, fine. You know, I don't know why they had to go bandless. I've got banded Migos
Mm-hmm.
that are loose, that are still holding together from the 1970s. I don't know why they did that. Um, and John says that Dr. Migos admitted poor choices on the first few waves of Migo. He didn't admit it when I said it. He gave me a hard time.
Hey, I don't know
We'll
that
just
name.
call him 420. He says
Okay.
NECA's Golden Girls. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Bad choice.
Everybody made Golden Girls for a minute though, because Funko did it, NECA
Fisher
did it.
Price made them.
Yeah.
Fisher Price, Little People, because they're not made for kids anymore. They did Golden Girls. They did Kiss. You know, they did The Walking Dead.
I mean, but The Walking Dead, you can kind of see
Uh-huh.
maybe Kiss, but the
Yeah.
Golden Girls, I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
that show's unwatchable. MIB
Yeah.
Johnny says might have to check out Hasbro Pulse. Yeah, take a look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're $14.99.
But the one
$14.99 on
thing I was
Hasbro
saying,
Pulse.
after I saw Johnny's video
Mhm.
about the Migo, is maybe they didn't make a lot because the movies were doing so bad, and maybe Disney was like, well, let's just test it out because the movies aren't doing well,
Mhm.
and people kind of don't like Disney right now. I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah,
the
that's
majority of the
true.
people don't like Disney right now. They don't like going to the theme parks. They don't like their movies, their TV shows, their cartoons. They don't really, people are kind of backing away. So that was my thought on the whole situation. Maybe that's why they made a low run. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you said that it was what do you call it? Um force demand. What do you call it? You call it
Artificial
artificial demand.
demand market, like what Funko was famous for.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad is here. He says, going to be great crossover. Johnny's first subscriber. Johnny is in the chat, and he cannot resolve his technical issues because he's been trying to get in. Because he's got the links, and there's something wrong on his end, or I don't know where, if Restream maybe, or whatever it is. He's having a lot of trouble. But he's in the chat right now. We haven't been able to connect with him.
If y'all got questions for Johnny, put it out there and we'll ask him and he can type it in.
And Chris Connolly says that moniker is his name.
Oh,
Mr. C. Chris Connolly, Mr. C. Dives.
So y'all can go to Chris's channel. He says he has the Migo 4-pack. He did a review. He opened it up, everything. And I'm pretty sure he got a lot of other stuff on his channel. So let's go check it out.
Yes.
See what he's up to. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. Also, my Migo like.
Yeah.
Give him a like and a subscribe.
And Nostalgic for the 70s
and
is
then
here.
We got David here.
He says YouTube's best live stream. Thank you. We try. But
did Murder,
yes.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there is the possibility that it could be an artificial demand model, especially after they put it up for pre-sale and then started canceling pre-sales, orders through over the internet. Although I think it's an interesting coincidence that most of the people who had their pre-order canceled were people that used a coupon code, wink wink nudge nudge. That's a real interesting coincidence how that worked out. But artificial demand, because then everybody's like, why is this selling out? Why is this $300 on eBay all of a sudden in sold auctions? What's going on with Migo? Let me run out and buy Migos here real quick, because Funko's been doing that since like 2015.
Yeah.
Munit says, what is NECA thinking producing Murder, She Wrote and Golden Girls figures? They also did Bob Ross and, oh God, what is his name? The exercise guy.
Oh, Richard Simmons.
Richard Simmons. Yeah, they did Richard Simmons. Nostalgic says Migo is a niche product. Even the G.I. Joe IP could move those figures. G.I. Joe, or couldn't move, I guess he means. Most G.I. Joe Raw is more of an 80s thing, and Migo's cloth figures are more of a 70s thing.
Yeah.
Brian says my Migo like has the 2-pack will be a Target exclusive. Always picking on Lou again. Chris says I did an MIB inbox style review. Oh, he didn't open them. And Johnny says Restream is telling me that I'm locked out and it doesn't recognize my email address or password. I don't understand that logic. Maybe it wants you to join. Because if I click the link and I look, it says, do you want to? It asks me if I want to join Restream.
Yeah.
Just not as not for the service necessarily, but just as a so that you'll be in their system. I'm guessing.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. But it'd be nice to get it resolved.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be nice to talk for a little bit.
But so they had all of that going on with the Migo, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the prototypes have arrived. So 50-plus-year-old Migo prototypes have suddenly surfaced into the market from out of nowhere. And nobody knows where they were from. No one knew prototypes existed. They were like, where the hell did these come from? That's a really interesting coincidence that they dropped now after all that's going on with the hullabaloo about Migo. And I'm like, I wonder if somebody was sitting on those waiting for an opportunity to throw them out there to kindle interest with Migo or capitalize off of Migo, or I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Let me see. Shelby Rockstar said they thought about doing a toy review channel. Oh, you could try it. I'm not sure if I can handle the public negativity. Well, yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
we don't get a lot of that. But then we avoid a lot of the negative models that, and I did a whole video on it some few months ago.
Yeah.
A lot of the negative models that a lot of people on YouTube use to draw attention to their channel, picking feuds with people and talking about other people or calling people out and things like that.
Yeah.
And, I don't need it. I mean, I could probably quadruple my viewership if I did that, but I would also quadruple the negativity because
Yeah.
I'd be getting cussed out by everybody then.
Yeah.
Nostalgic says New Mego is kind of irrelevant. They retreaded most of what Figures Toy Company has already done. Plus, if you're not a superhero fan, New Mego has little to offer. Even FTC had more diverse offerings. Uh, yeah, Johnny says he tried. It was still locked out. It's a restream issue. That
That
sucks.
sucks.
That sucks. I don't know when my subscription runs out with Restream either.
I think it's coming up.
Is it
like within the next
maybe
2
I
months?
Maybe I can get a deal with StreamYard, switch back to StreamYard, because it seems like I had less issues with that with the StreamYard, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Mego. I mean, they know who their target audience is. They're not selling that stuff to kids. They're selling it to adults. It's being targeted to adults, like most action figures nowadays. They know that the people that are buying them primarily are our age, and they know that most of the people that are buying them are buying like 10 each. they're not happy with just one.
And then the part that makes that so bad, okay, the people that are buying them are 40 years plus, basically.
Yeah.
So you're holding out for another 20 to 30 years.
And I'm going to retire. I'm going to be rich, baby.
Yeah, but the people
Sure.
that are 20 years old today, not going to want that in 20 to 30 years. So then you're holding on for what?
Plus, 95% of them are going to be minty fresh. It's not like back in the day when we opened everything and 95% of them were loose and beat to death. And it's almost impossible to find a carded or a boxed example of a lot of stuff. It's just not out there. That's where the value comes from. But the new Megos, if people buy multiples, if they're looking to resell them in the future, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be anybody to sell them to, not unless the people that are born today, the people that were born in 2000 or even 95 up, becomes interested in toys and action figures.
Yeah.
You have a handful, but them handful isn't the amount of people that are interested now, those 40 plus year old people that are interested in toys now. You know what I mean? So I always wonder, when you buy that stuff with the hopes of, okay, I can sell this later, who are you going to sell it to? Who wants it?
Yeah,
they don't want it now.
Usually people always want to they default back to the oldest versions of the franchise if it is franchise related. Johnny says Brian Heller said talk toys, not other people. Yeah, ask Lou for my Mego like about that. Display name: New Mego's horror lines have been fantastic. Universal and Hammer lines are lovingly made. And Blue Splash, just collect the fandoms and enjoy. At the end of the day, keep the community stress free.
Yes.
Sure.
No.
Sure. And there's Doll Base.
Hey, Doll Base.
Says good morning, evening, night, whatever. They're from Sweden. Yeah. And Shelby Rockstar, if you could bring back any show or cartoon, what would it be? I don't know, because I don't know that I would want them to come back, because when they do bring them back, they alter them.
Yeah.
Or it's not quite the same. And we got a taste of that even just with Star Blazers. When we watched the Star Blazers, there's 3 seasons. There's 3 primary seasons of Star Blazers, okay? The first 2, the original and the Comet Empire, are brilliantly written. The third one, which came out some years later, and this is still a vintage show, not anywhere near as good. And I can just imagine if they try to bring Star Blazers back like next week.
You know? But a lot of the shows that we used to watch that went off, kind of needed to go off, you know, or it
needed to
ended.
end.
Yeah, it ended on a high note, or it needed to end, or something like that. But you won't be able to bring it back today, 2025, with the same characters. I mean, the same actors playing those characters, because that's what you loved. You loved those actors playing that character
with that writing style,
with that writing style,
and that storytelling, which
yeah,
is not the same.
because I mean, they brought back MacGyver. Anybody like MacGyver? They brought back Knight Rider. They brought back Matlock. They brought back
The Equalizer.
The Love Boat.
Yeah.
The Equalizer. I mean, you can sit here all
what
night
was
and
that?
name shows.
Fantasy Island.
Yeah. What show have they actually brought back? Okay, let's say a show came out in the 80s. What show has come back that you can actually say, man, that was better than the original? I can watch that again. I mean, if you can name one, tell me. I'll try it out.
Tell us.
Because I'll try out a show as long as it's for free and I don't have to pay about it. But I mean, we look at a lot of stuff. I mean, even movies. There's a couple of movies that were redone, like The Thing, the remake from the 80s was better than the original. You had what was the one with the people in the pods? It came out 3 times. You know, the people were in the pod, and then the guy that played James Bond was in the last one. And it had wasn't it Donald Sutherland?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The second one was better than the original. Not that third one.
Yeah, not the third one. The third one was terrible.
Yeah.
But there, because you could find, because back in the 70s and 80s, they still knew how to have good acting, good writing, and good storytelling, and present it in a believable fashion, even if it was out there. And those 4 elements are important, and they still know how to do that. That's why you had the 80s version of the Blob is better than the original, and you have the 80s version of The Thing is better than the original. But if they did it now, it would suck. Mutant says, like I mentioned earlier, Mego barely has any presence in stores. I've noticed 1 or 2, but they're peg warmers.
And then another thing, people knew how to act.
Yeah.
Back then. You can't tell me a modern actor or actress or whatever that's good.
At least not the ones they pay the big bucks for. Because there's people that could do it.
Yeah, like Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's great.
They won't hire him.
I mean, you might have a handful, but it's not the majority. I mean, look at these people that's on the TV now and playing in movies now. You're like, I don't know what you up there doing. Why did they pay you $5-10 million for this part? Because you're not doing a good job. You know what I mean?
Frankenfrog wants to know if we heard about $500 value NECA blind boxes.
No.
Have not heard of that.
Whoa.
And is that suggested retail value?
Or is that the eBay price?
Yeah. Dollbase says it'll be the same with local artist paintings from the 40s and 50s. For 10 years, they sold for $1,000. Now you can't give them away because no one wants them.
You know, we were at an auction.
Well, some of you might have seen the short. We were at a public auction, you know, where they talk fast and they bang the gavel.
Okay, I'm gonna just click on some of these because we're way behind.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just click so y'all can see it while we talk. We were at a public auction on New Year's Day. They had a auction, and they had some stuff. They had a painting by some famous artist. And they said that the painting, the last time it sold for like $20,000.
In 2019.
In 2019.
It was purchased at that time by a retirement home that needed to liquidate. The previous sale was in like 2012 for like 17,000 or something, because they have the history.
Yeah. And it sold Wednesday. What, $600?
$800.
$800.
$800. $800 at the public auction. Nobody wanted. Everybody looked at it like, how the hell am I going to get this home?
Yeah.
It was like 6 feet tall, 5
It
feet
was
wide,
huge. Yeah.
massive frame.
Yeah. I mean, it was well done. It was a
yeah.
nice picture.
So that was just not the wrong place for it.
Yeah.
The wrong
It
place
needed
for
to
it.
go to an art gallery auction where people that buy that kind of stuff goes. They also had this big old beautiful china cabinet. Oh, that thing was beautiful. It was gigantic.
Huge.
Oh Lord, it was so big.
They had to put it aside because he kept dropping it. He says, okay, $5. $5. And everybody's looking around like, is anyone going to bid on this thing? Because I don't know if anybody could have transported it. Oh, John has to leave.
Oh, okay. It was for $5. They couldn't even sell it for $5, but it was so big. Who could move? And where would you even put it? I mean, a majority of houses don't even have room for a thing like that. But I mean, it was beautiful. If you had the stuff to put in it, and
it had to have been worth a couple of $1,000s.
Oh yeah, easy.
Action Joe Figs is here.
Okay, but hey Mima, how are you? Great to see you again. But yeah, I don't think we need remakes. You know, say they never seem to understand what made. Yeah, see,
yeah, I've talked about that a lot because it's like if you have no one in the modern era is sitting there looking at a former franchise and saying, hey, why was this a cultural phenomenon?
Yeah.
What was the pulse of this? Let me tap into it. Okay. They're not saying that. They're looking at, oh, look at this franchise. It's worth a fortune. Let's make some money. And they don't care. They don't care. They don't love it.
No. They look at it and they say, man, this made a lot of money at that time. We can make more. You still got a lot of people that are behind it.
It's the wrong approach.
And now with all this technology, we can make it look better, sound better. We can do better graphics. We can do better this. We can do better that. But
and it don't matter. If look at the, I'm a big fan of the Tom Baker Doctor Who. Worst.
Brian Sanchez is a great actor.
worst special effects you can imagine, but the writing and the storytelling were great. And the acting was really well done. And Tom Baker was a great actor, and he was loved being in character, and it made it work. So despite the fact that everything looked like crap, it looked like it was made out of cardboard, it didn't matter. So fluffing it up with a lot of CGI doesn't impress me. I know they could do better. Lou wants to know if I bought that gorilla. That gorilla was $1,200.
We walked right on by that stupid gorilla.
I can show you what I did get because I still have it in the bag. I did get something there.
Oh, Hasbro license expires. I think we talked about that, or you mentioned that that the Hasbro license is expiring this year. So that means all of the stuff that they've made is going to be a free market agent. Anybody can pick it up and start making it.
No, that's Popeye and Tintin is going up.
Oh, just two things?
Display. Well, they don't own that. That's something else. I don't know if Hasbro. I'm not sure what license for Hasbro was expiring. Display says they've been trying to put together a custom Mego style figure for the Prisoner using Figures Toy Company. Gets expensive quickly. Yes, it does.
The Prisoner. We watched that. I really only liked about 3 episodes because it took me a long time to figure out what was going on. Like, I didn't really get what was happening until the last 2, maybe the last 3 episodes, where that guy had got him and they were in that room and he was trying to break him down and he couldn't. Then I figured out, the whole time they're trying to break it. Well, I knew they were trying to break him the whole time, but I didn't know how well he was doing not being broken down. You know what I mean? Like, I knew the whole thing was they were trying to get him to say why he left the organization or whatever he was in.
Yeah.
But it was just annoying, except for that one episode where the girl committed suicide. And He drove number two
Yeah,
crazy.
he made
Oh
him have a
Lord, he
nervous
gave that
breakdown.
man, yeah, he had a nervous breakdown. That was the best episode, I think,
Hmm.
of the
Of the
whole,
whole series,
yeah,
that's our favorite one.
of the whole
I
thing.
have to agree, that's
So
one of the best
David gonna
episodes.
show some stuff. I'm gonna keep putting the things up on the screen because we're so far behind, and I hate that we're not reading everybody's
Everybody,
comments.
yeah,
But I don't like to be so
we
far
do
behind.
appreciate
Yes,
you.
we do. And but I'm gonna put it on the screen so others can see it. But David has some things that he want to
I
show.
did grab a couple of things. I got this there. It's the Dino Riders, the
Mm-hmm.
Tycho Dino Riders 2-pack, and this is who the hell is this?
I don't know. You mean who made it?
No, I know Tycho made these,
Oh, okay.
but
Oh yeah, it says it on the front.
Mercury and Fang. Okay, there he is. I was looking on the back, but they're colored a little differently on the picture because there's the whole collection right there. There's like 8 2-packs, and then there's a bunch of vehicle sets. And the bigger the vehicle gets, the harder it is to find,
I bet.
and the more expensive it is. These are not cheap now. These and the Bone Age figures. Look at that original price, 89 cents at the Save a Buck. 89 cents at the Save a Buck. And I got this for a song. I paid 90s prices for this.
Oh wow.
This was so inexpensive. I could not believe it. I was like, there's no freaking way, because these are hard to find. These are hard to find now. Any of the Dino Riders or Bone Age pack figures, the Bone Age figures are done exactly like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that Diplodocus right there is just insanely expensive, and the play sets are fragile too. So even loose, they're um they're often broken or damaged. They're often broken or damaged when they're loose. So, and I don't have any Dino Riders stuff. So this is a first.
Oh, came in and no, at that auction, no, they didn't have junk. They
It was
had some
good
really
stuff,
nice stuff.
but those large pieces,
Yeah, the furniture
yeah,
doesn't sell well because it's big, it's bulky, and a lot of people can't move it.
yeah.
And then you don't have any place for it. But like they had some beautiful jewelry, and it was expensive stuff, and it was only going out for like
Some of it
three and four
appraised.
hundred dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had some great lamps, and I was interested in the lamps, but we left before the lamps were sold. I mean, they just had a lot of nice things, and those auctions are nice if you're a collector, because we went a time before and they had a lot of toys.
Yeah.
And that's where David got a lunchbox
I
and
got the
some other toy stuff.
I got that Billy Blastoff lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'll just tell you, I paid 10 for that.
yeah.
$10. Nobody bid it. They dropped it because they started at a higher price, and he says, "Okay, for 10. Can I get someone for 10?" And I put my card up, and I ended up with it.
Hmm.
Nobody cared about it, but there's probably about $200 worth of loose Billy Blastoff stuff in there.
Yeah. So I mean, some of it, like the furniture was not junk. It was nice furniture. But again, if you got an apartment or you got a house that's fully furnished already, you don't have any place for it. And a lot of dealers come there.
Oh yeah,
Those,
everybody there's a
yeah,
reseller but us.
yeah, those people, because we go to antique malls, and we have seen a lot of that stuff
We've
before.
seen stuff that we know were being when they had one money lots, and that's when they pool things together. Things aren't selling, so that, okay, we're going to do like they had the Olympic pins. The 96, somebody had like 1,000 freaking pins. He had
Yeah.
everything from every team, and it was like, okay, they're not moving. We'll do them for one money. Who wants to start off on one money? And that's when they throw it all together and they
Start
start.
at like
And
$5.
then like a few weeks later at an antique mall, we see them in the display racks.
Yeah.
The same display racks, and we see stuff like that all the time.
And then they had like a bunch of Hess trucks. Oh Lord, I know they had over 100
In the
Hess
box.
trucks in the truck, never open. They had the Christmas ones. They had all of the different ones. And I remember in the 90s, those Hess trucks were a big deal.
Yeah.
I always liked them and wanted them. I never got any, but I remember the Hess trucks, and they had literally it was 100 or more,
Yeah.
and they were just selling them in lots of
One money in
five.
lots.
Yeah, lots of five. Then after a while, they just sold them in lots of 10 and 15. And then you go to the antique mall and you see somebody and they got like a
You got a
ton
stack
of
of them. It's like, gee, I wonder where this came
Hess.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a stack of Hess trucks, and you're like, you went to the auction and you got all those Hess trucks just to put in this this antique mall booth.
Basically. But another piece that I picked up, and that is sealed. It's the Little People Airlift Copter with the pilot, little green hat pilot. This is the 1985 edition. The article 2449 from the 2351 assortment, for anybody who's keeping track. You can see he can actually pick up his cargo. I'm a sucker for these old Fisher Price sets. But again, you can't find these. And there's Stone Sour saying, he says, Dino Riders, I never see that stuff on cards. Yeah, you don't find them, and they're not cheap. And Shelby says, seems recently some people pay up to a few hundred a piece for slime containers from the 80s. Yeah, like the Ghostbusters, or the one from the Fright Zone goes for quite a bit. Was it the Fright Zone or from the Masters of the Universe as a slime container?
Oh,
and there's nothing in them because they're dried out by now. It's full of. It's got like a chunk in those containers. I've always been a sucker for the little people sets. I think that's really cool. And it is out of sight.
Hey, out of sight.
And Lou there says that Bone Age figures are expensive. Yeah, Bone Age and Dino Riders figures are very expensive. Very expensive. It's crazy. And the play sets or the vehicles in particular can get way up there. And who's that?
K Munin.
No, I was reading ahead.
Oh, okay.
Action Figure Joe said Billy Blastoff for $10. That's a steal. It was a whole box full of stuff. Yeah. There was Billy the robot and like about 7 vehicles, and they work.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
Nobody was interested, and they dropped it. When they hit $10, I put my card up and I got it.
Yeah, if y'all can find those auctions in your area, I like going just to hear them talk because they do the fast talking.
Yeah, and nobody does it like that anymore.
Yeah, and it's the son and the dad, and the son is fast, but then dad gets up there and he just blows them out of the water. And I remember the first time we went, I'm sitting there like, who in the heck can understand? But when you sit there for a while, you understand exactly what they're saying.
You know what those codes mean. You know what they're saying.
You pick up real quick.
A lot of times it's just a certain sounds, like when the one guy was going up like that, up, and what he was letting the other guy know that that you've hit the price mark and you can ask for the next thing. We're doing 110, 120, 120, 120, looking for 120, 120, we're at 110, 110, up 120, 120, we're looking for 125, 130, or whatever. Dollbase had Billy Blastoff. There was also Billy Diver and Billy Cowboy. And those are harder to find, even though the astronaut stuff's more popular. And they're still talking about that Mattel, like Hasbro and the Marvel licenses, I guess.
But I mean, how do you lose the license when everybody makes everything now? It's not. They're not like
it was.
Yeah, they don't have a monopoly on a figure anymore. Like, and we've said this a million times. Mattel had, let me see, that's a Brave Star. Somebody else had G.I. Joe. And, it was one company made one thing. Nowadays, 10 companies make G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
5 others make this and that. And, everybody makes everything.
People making Ninja Turtles, and that's just in the U.S.
Yeah. So it's like, who cares if they lose their license? Everybody got it anyway.
Yeah, I
know.
The franchises are all over the place.
So does it really matter? Is it really going to hurt anything
or like
help anything?
You mentioned the G.I. Joe that was Hasbro, and they cross-referenced with Palitoy so that Palitoy could do their own version in the UK, and they are different. But if it was made somewhere else, there are differences, and you can tell.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, that's understandable because it's in another country and it's probably cheaper. Okay, let's just make it in Europe. Over there, they'll call it something else, but it's cheaper than shipping it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm saying like now, everybody makes GI Joe.
Yes.
Everybody makes Star Wars and
Yeah, they're
this and that.
franchised all over the place, and it makes it hard,
They're
I
already
think.
making Marvel statues. I think both Hasbro and Disney are sour on each other.
Yeah, everything's going to Ollie's. Display name says the Little People copter looks pretty big for a toddler. Well, so he can't swallow it. And no, Johnny, you didn't
No.
miss MIB. MIB, whatever was going on with Restream, was unable to resolve some technical difficulty and
Yeah.
couldn't get in. Couldn't
Yeah.
get in,
So we're gonna have
unfortunately.
to work out something
Yeah,
and
we'll
reschedule
reschedule
it
it
for another day.
because we'd like to have Johnny on again.
Yeah.
Meemaw says used to do mail order comics auctions in the 80s. There was a lot of extra shifts pull when I won more than expected. Yeah. Another piece I picked up is this one, and that is the Little Riders set. Play Family Little Riders and little Patty there because they do have names. The boy is Butch and the girl is Patty. Patty's in the package backwards, and I'm not sure how to fix that.
You gotta open it up.
Because this, oh God. Oh,
Would you having a heart attack?
my life flashed before my eyes.
Johnny, man, you can open that up and slide it out and flip that thing around. Woo!
Oh, do you not see that tape? That's still that factory tape right there. But this is the 1976 one when this was still affiliated with Quaker Oats. Fisher Price was also a Quaker Oats company. And the Little Riders, lots of fun for the play family. Look at that little girl having a good old time playing with her Little Riders. And again, these sets are kind of hard to find and still sealed, even though this one's a little rough. But hey, and there's that little boy there. He's playing because they would photograph actual kids. These are test subjects, not models. Once upon a time when they would actually take a toy into a room with a bunch of little kids and film them and watch them to observe to see whether or not they actually cared about playing with that particular toy instead of just cranking some shit out now and then expecting kids to just eat it up or not. I don't know how that works. We talked to somebody at one of the shows who was going on about that because he was I think it was the G.I. Joe Sigma 6 and they were rolling it out and he was part of the marketing for it and he asked for the demographics he was like on the test marketing and they were like, oh, we didn't do any test marketing, we're just going to roll it out. And he was like, nobody's actually handled these, you didn't show them to anybody? And they were like, no. And he's like, oh my God, as someone in marketing, and this was at the Joe Lanta. And he was like, I just couldn't imagine. It was like, yeah, I wonder, and gee, I wonder how come they ended up peg warmers. You want to at least see if anybody wants them. Retro says some licenses are not just broke down by properties, but formats. Oh, that's right. And various sizes, 1/18th, 1/12th scale he references there versus statues and all that other stuff. That's when is it going to be a statue? How big is it going to be? And all of that other nonsense. It's too much.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, Dollbase says, I think the future is the toys where you create something. Lego works well to collect items as an investment is hard to choose. And we know somebody who's talking about that recently. They sell Legos and they have a hard time with modern sets.
Yeah.
If it's vintage Legos, they can't hold on to it. If it's even opened and repackaged sets from the 70s, 80s, they'll fly. Modern sets and people are like, and even giving them a deal, they're not moving very well as far as from a collector's standpoint. Selling them retail, I don't know. It's to me, it doesn't seem quite the same. To me, modern Legos seem like a puzzle because you have this set of instructions that you follow and you exactly make whatever you've got.
Yeah.
And you're not. I'm not sure how creative that is. Outside of just
make something else.
You could, but are you going to?
No, I mean, if you were to get one and it's I don't know, some play set, You can do something else.
You could, if you're, I mean, but what are the odds that you're going to put it together and then decide to take it apart and build something else with it after it's been assembled?
Yeah, but if you got a little 5-year-old, you just dump that bag out and be like, here, go ahead on.
I ain't paying $500 for a Lego set so that Timmy can chew on the pieces. Johnny says LPH is making MIB clutch his heart, saying, I'm coming, Elizabeth. Yep. That's right. I can just, oh, this is the one. Oh, this is the big one, you big dummy. Look what you done.
Oh, okay. That's how that works. The size difference is how companies are able to do all that mess they be doing.
Technically, because mine is 6 inches and yours is 4 and yours is 3.5, and that's how they try to get around that. Brian says there's a few of us trying to help Johnny get on the live. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
We do want
because
to
we do want to talk. We would like to talk to Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legends. I've been enjoying scented bar soap recently. Takes me back to a simpler time.
We don't buy soap.
No, she makes it.
Mm-hmm.
And
tech team on the job.
Sanchez. Well, you know what?
Oh, speaking of that, because I was about to say that, and then we got off topic. VHS, we saw an episode of Hoarders. This lady,
she's been recording everything from every TV station. She has a whole wall
of TVs and VCRs,
cathode ray televisions and VCRs.
She has this whole setup of TVs, and she records every show on every channel, and she's been doing it from the 80s. So she had totes and totes and totes and totes of homemade VCR tapes.
Yes.
And of course on Hoarders, the family is there, and
it's all trash. It's all,
yeah. But you know how much you can get for a homemade VCR
if
tape?
you've got somebody's tape with 8 hours of footage on it from like Baltimore from 1981 with all the original station identifications and ads and everything on it, people will pay good money for that if it's running properly.
Mm-hmm. And she had cassette tapes,
and they filled up whole trailers with those totes to take them to the dump.
And she had cassette
Hang on
tapes.
a second, I'll be right back.
Okay,
let me grab my thing.
She recorded the radio, so she had cassette tapes of radio programs, music, everything, and it was just like, oh wow. And of course on Hoarders, what do you do with everything that the family doesn't want? You throw them away. And it's like, man, you could go on eBay and sell that, because a lot of people want that stuff. Hey Gilgamesh, how are you? Action Joe Fig.
I think they may have potentially thrown away a fortune.
Yeah. Oh man, the retro gamers will pay a good bit. Yeah.
And Johnny says that. He says that's actually big money with all those recorded VHS tapes. Yeah. Some original commercials are lost forever.
Yeah.
People hunt for those.
Yeah.
If you know what's on it, I mean, it could be a huge big deal, or special reports or news briefs, things like that. People are looking for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be shitting me. But I found, since you brought it up, we found this at Value Village today.
Yeah, but no, to answer your question, we do not collect VCR tapes.
Yeah, we have some, but we don't have like a huge collection.
Yeah.
Stone Sour said they'd kill to have all their childhood VHS tapes.
I used to record a bunch off of TV growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to program to record certain things, Dr. Quinn and all kinds of shows like that.
Yeah.
I used to set my the to record automatically when you're not home. I learned all my tech skills from the one and only Lou.
Oh, did you? So he's got his you've got your see and say, and he's got his speak and spell, and you can get them linked together and get onto Restream.
Okay.
I smelled this out. I smelled this, and some of you will know what I'm talking about here. Do you remember the odor of new solid state?
He was all up in Value Village sniffing the thing, and I was
I
so embarrassed. I
I
just walked away. I put
she
my
did.
head down
No,
and
she
I
didn't.
turned slowly and just walked
She
off.
was excited as I was. Because you know how certain odors will bring back a memory, okay? And I smelled solid state. And because some of you are old enough to remember the days of Radio Shack.
Yeah.
Um, and you would open a new package of something that was manufactured 70s, 80s, and there was that solid state smell. Who knows what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Dollbase says we have a TV show where there was items for different values. Then the contestants removed the items, got the amount of what was left. Both Lego and Pokemon cards valued at 50,000.
Oh.
Um,
But go ahead, show your thing.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
go through the so we won't mess
Yeah.
up.
Look at this.
Damn, he bought that today. He's so happy.
It smells. It's got that solid state, like fresh out of the box, brand new smell. And you see the label stuck on it. They taped the remote to the top. I did plug it in. It does run.
Mm-hmm.
But it has that fresh out of the box, brand new, solid state odor. I can smell it now, you know. And some of you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, if you grew up in the 70s or 80s and you had that brand new radio, brand new TV out of the box, and as soon as you open the box up, you got that odor, that factory fresh odor of that solid state. And this is like 30 pounds. This is a heavy machine. And I'm like, holy crap, this is the real deal. And this is like new condition. Because that's really the thing. This kind of crap pops up in and just to show you, that's the stick-on cardboard, see? So it's not like this is a peel off. That's just the static is holding the label on there. You see these from time to time in the thrift stores, but they're beat to death, or
Yeah.
they smell like roaches, or they yeah, you know what I mean. Well,
People, everybody don't know what you mean.
I hope you don't. Okay, I hope you don't. But I know that odor, unfortunately. But or it looks like things have been spilled on them or whatever. This is like freaking new, and I'm like, wow, it's $8. $8. Gilgamesh remembers the smell of NECA and McFarlane figures in the 2000s. That strong new toy smell, that plastic, that oil you're talking about.
Good too.
Meemaw says if you're going to have a fetish, I guess the transistory smell is fairly benign. And Display says, I remember the smell of burning electronics that Radio Shack sent.
I used to work at Radio Shack. Back in the 90s. I have a VCR DVD combo, and it recorded a VHS tape to the DVD.
Yeah. And Johnny says, I'm lucky to find one with the remote. Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to find this, and I can't wait to get it going. We have
he gonna send a Street Sharks VCR tape. We still on Street Sharks. I think we're about done.
You know what's funny about it? When they do the musical interludes.
Oh, now they have montages with music videos.
Yeah. When they do the musical interludes, if you're paying attention, the song actually makes sense. Because it's a different song in every episode, but the song actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, someone actually sat there and wrote this song. It's not just a bunch of hogwash.
No, and they singing it too. They're singing it with passion, and it's a music video. I remember the Magic 8 Ball. You ask it a question and shake it up.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to tell you the future.
But we got last year a massive floor model television. big wood panel
Yeah.
TV, weighs like 500 pounds. You
We
know the
got it
one,
for free.
for free. We were at an estate sale,
Yep.
and the sticker on that TV said free. And it's like, is it really free? And they
And
were
we
like,
plugged it up.
please take it.
We
It,
plugged it up
yeah,
and it played.
it played. And I'm like, hey, sure, why not? So when we are able, because we don't have room for it down here like this, but when we're able to get that TV set up, I got the VCR for it.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm excited.
I'm trying to hook that up on the TV, the flat screen, so we can
Yeah.
actually see. Not on no tube TV where you can't see nothing. It's all grainy.
Oh no.
Is there a website where you can watch TNR episode? What's TNR? Oh,
YNR episodes.
yeah, you can watch it on regular TV. But they used to have the soap opera channel because I used to watch it. It would come on Friday night and you can watch the whole week. But I don't know if there's a channel anymore because I quit watching it. I watched it for a long time, a few years back, and I was like, oh man, what am I watching this for? But I mean, you can still record it. You got a VCR. It still comes on CBS at 12:30, so you can still record it and watch it like that. But I don't know because they got rid of the soap opera network. They had a soap opera network where they would play all of soap operas from all of the channels, and they just played on that one network. And Young and the Restless was one of them. But I used to watch it on Friday nights, and I would watch the whole week. Cause then you can watch the whole week in one day, and that was the best. But I don't know.
This is a Sears HQ.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, Mark Franco is
From
here.
Cape Cod.
This is a Sears HQ unit.
Oh, that's what that is?
This is a Sears HQ unit made in Korea.
Oh, okay.
In 1988.
Oh, wow.
1988. The Sears HQ model. 1988. And
oh, you don't have cable?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's that's all right. You don't need it.
Mm-mm.
But cable's not good for you.
I don't know. Then you can try and look it up on some streaming network or look it up on the internet. I'm pretty sure if you go on the internet somewhere and type in Young and the Restless, they'll show you where you can watch it. But I don't know because I don't. Only soap operas I'm watching now is Dallas and Falcon Crest.
Yeah.
That's it.
Falcon Crest get on my nerves. But there's no likable characters on the show. They're all morons.
That is true. Falcon Crest has zero. I like Richard. I understand Richard.
Yeah, I suppose.
I understand.
He's not that
Richard.
bad.
No, he's
But
not.
yeah, that VCR made my day today. That made my day. Meemaw said they had the old Curtis Mathis console. The picture tube was a few degrees off. We figured football teams changed directions at halftime so the other team could play uphill. Is that what it is? And Renard says, other than the classic Twilight Zone, what other classic sci-fi shows do you like? Outer Limits.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I like the original Star Trek, the '60s Star Trek. Let me see. I have watched Lost in Space, but it could get a bit tedious sometimes. It could get a bit tedious at times. And Lost in Space is still it's hilarious to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
No, Johnny, when I was watching the soap opera network, they showed current soap operas. It wasn't old episodes. It was the ones that was playing that day. Um, and then also, like I said, if you go on the internet, there are ways you can watch the current episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the current episodes, of course, still come on CBS. But like you said, you don't have. But if you get a digital antenna, you can get regular TV with a digital antenna, and it comes in pretty clear. And then you can just record it. So
let me see. Space 1999.
Mm-hmm.
UFO from Jerry Anderson. Although that was only like one season. What was it? Sapphire and Steel, another British show, was actually pretty good.
I never saw
It had
that.
the guy from Man from Uncle in it.
Cadfael.
Cadfael is not a sci-fi show.
No. He didn't say sci-fi. He
he,
said,
he did say
oh,
sci-fi.
it didn't? I thought he said classic show. Oh,
Classic
yeah,
sci-fi.
sci-fi
Yeah.
shows. Okay, well.
And Raccoon wants to know if you're gonna watch Knots Landing.
Only if it's free to watch.
Yeah.
If it's free to watch, we'll watch it. But I don't think so. I don't think it's free to watch.
Nostalgic says VHS probably still has the largest media library. Well, there's a lot of stuff that was put on VHS that never made it to disc.
Yeah.
So that could be. And Action Joe liked Space 1999. That was a good show. That was a pretty good show. It was well written. And that was another
7.
Jerry Anderson production.
Blake 7 was pretty great.
Okay.
I never heard of that show.
And Raccoon says lots of space was good, then it got too goofy at the end. Dr. Smith goes down in history as one of the best villains on TV. Yeah, he's pretty funny. And I've mentioned it before. My favorite Dr. Smith moment is when he stole the birthday cake. That was my favorite.
No, Falcon Crest is not that annoying. I'm into it now, so I got to keep going. It's not that bad. The main villain, because it is a main villain, Angela Channing,
Yes.
she is the villain. But unlike JR on Dallas is the villain. He's the main villain. But you can get behind him because you understand what he's doing. You understand why he's a villain. And then he has honor. He's not going to mess with you if you're not healthy and able to fight back.
He wants a challenge.
Yeah. He do some low down, sneaky, underhanded things.
He doesn't try to hurt family.
Yeah.
There's certain things.
Yeah, he has this code of honor. Nobody understands it. And everybody thinks that JR just do anything. And even he's starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, they don't know who I am. Because when Bobby lost his eyesight, everybody thought that JR was going to take the company away from Bobby. And Sue Ellen confronted him with it. And he's like, I would never do that.
He can't see. That ain't fair.
He can't fight. I'm going to wait until he's healthy and he can fight back. Then I'm going to mess with him. And then, he had to admit that Clayton bested him. He was like, hey, you're the only person I've never been able to get, and I have total respect for you. He still don't like Clayton, but he respects Clayton, and he don't mess with him anymore. He was like, I tried, I couldn't get you. You a good man. All right, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Sure.
But Angela Channing, no honor,
no redeeming qualities.
No, she will screw everybody over. She doesn't care. The only person that she respects is her butler, Charlie. That's it. And she actually had to apologize to Charlie because he's Chinese. And she made a statement. It wasn't a derogatory statement, but she made a statement. And she used a Chinese phrase. And then, he kind of looked at her, and then she was like, I'm sorry, Charlie. That was rude of me to say. And then she said what she should have said the first time. But other than him, no, she has zero respect for anybody. I mean, her own kids. She'll kill her own kids. She don't care. It's like, man.
Yeah.
You just want her to die. You just hoping that somebody just do something to her. But whatever. That's who she is.
Yeah, well, but for those of you who don't remember the one with Dr. Smith.
Time Tunnel, I never heard of that. Land of the
Time
Giants.
Tunnel, Land of the Giants is some classic 60s stuff there.
That's Pastor Rick's favorite sci-fi shows.
There's some cool shows. Those are some cool shows. What was it? The Dr. Smith episode, because there was a birthday cake. I think it was Penny's birthday, and he sneaks in the middle of the night, and he makes a cut all the way through the cake in two places, and scoops the center out, and then pushes the edges together and refrosts it. And then he had this massive piece
Mhm.
that he takes to his room with a fork. And I'm like, oh, you bastard. That was so evil. It's a girl's birthday cake. Because her birthday was like in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh no. He was always doing stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he was like comedy relief villain, but he was dirty though.
I don't care for comedy relief
Well, I mean
in
like Skeletor.
shows. Well,
Yeah.
okay, shows like that, but I mean in a drama. Like they do it on Knight Rider all the time. It's always some doofus messing with kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, after a while that get kind of old. Every episode somebody, it's a dog, it's a kid, it's an old homeless guy, or somebody, a salesman or something like that, and they always
Yeah.
messing with him. And then then of course he starts talking and they're like, you're a talking car and blah blah blah. And so they do that throughout the entire episode, and it's like, okay, now this is starting to get annoying.
Yeah. Well, Knight Rider's not the most brilliant show. It's just fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's one of those type shows.
Johnny has time tunnel. He
Okay.
says he wished they made more. Well, yeah, or if they had kept it on too long, it might have gotten weird.
Yeah, and
there's always that.
Because we talked about that a little bit earlier. Some shows just needed to end, or it was time for it to just go off the air, because if it had stayed on, it would have been so far removed from what you knew it to be that it wouldn't have been no good. And then you would have hated the whole thing. It wouldn't have been, oh, well, it was good all the way up to season 10. Because even The Walking Dead, people don't watch it anymore. And it was good up to a certain point, and then after a certain point. But who's going to go back and watch just to that point?
Yeah.
Nobody. Because it was on too long.
Yeah. And people get annoyed with it.
Yeah.
After a while. It's like, oh my God, enough already. I just...
And now they got all these spin-offs.
Unless they're able to redeem it. And that's rare that they can redeem it, like Cheers. And I've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers was a fun show up until Diana left.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley
took over.
And it got awful.
Kirstie Alley years were not good.
No.
And when they got to their final season, they, instead of just finishing out the series, the writers got together and said, what's the best we can possibly do? And the last season is the best season of Cheers. The writing is absolutely phenomenal for the last season, because they pulled out all the stops. They said, let's go out with a bang. Let's make it good instead of just finishing.
Yeah.
Which is rare. But they redeemed the show by making it so much better than how it started. And I'm like, okay, that's, sure. But you still ended up with, in the middle of it, you got like 4 seasons that are crap. But yeah, rarely can they redeem the show. Usually it just ends.
Yeah, and that's sad to hear about Cobra Kai. I think we watched it all the way up to season either 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And you can tell, because I think they made it to be either 3 or 4 seasons. Because that's when they came out, they said we were going to make it to be this amount of seasons. But it was so popular. People wanted it to keep going. And then you could tell that they were stretching. And they did that with The Strain. The Strain had, I want to say 3 or 4
it was 3
seasons. And then like you can tell when it was supposed to end. But then it was so popular, people liked it and wanted it back. They made another season, and then it was stretched out. You could tell that they were just grasping at straws. And then it had to end stupid, because if they had ended it when it was supposed to, it would have ended well. Because they made it to end, and it just got dumb after that. So
And Meemaw says Kolchak needed a second season, probably not a third though. And Mickle says, have you ever seen The Big Bang Theory without the laugh track? Yes. Yeah. Well, it's not funny even with the laugh track. It's worse without it. Big Bang Theory is not funny. And Blue Splash says they decided to get the HasLab Giant Man. Hopefully there's no issues. Really? Really? Yeah, I don't know what's
I
going
don't
on with
remember
that.
you showing that.
No, I don't
Did you
have
show it?
on the
Roundup.
yeah. It's easy to lose track with the roundup though.
That is true.
As you know, certain companies they keep rolling stuff out all the time. It
Mm-hmm.
never seems to end. You know, when you're talking Marvel, because that does fall in with Marvel Legends. So when you're talking Marvel Legends, Black Series, anything Ninja Turtle related, anything Masters of the Universe, it just never seems to stop. It and you don't realize how many sets there are. I had like look at the Hasbro GI Joe Classified.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen someone selling their collection, and they're selling. They want to sell. It was a Facebook Marketplace. I want to sell them all. They're all mint in the box. I have everything up to number 155. And I'm like, there's that many, and you know that some of them have been redone in a different color scheme
Yeah.
or put on a card, but it's still the same number. Like the first five, there's actually two each of the first five and things like that. So I have everything numbered 1 through 155, including the variants. And I'm like, oh my God, that's, and they're still making them and there's still pre-orders and
Wow.
there's still more scheduled to be
I'm
released.
done with these pre-orders,
And I'm like,
man.
it's too much. They've made more in the modern era than we ever got when we were kids of all of this stuff. The original Star Wars, I think it only, even though they repackaged them as Power of the Force or Tri Logo or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you got, I think originally there was only 65 figures
That's a lot. 65?
over going from 1978 all the way to 1988 in a
Oh.
10-year period.
Oh.
Um, and like I said, there's packaging variations, tri-card logo, Empire card, Jedi card, Power of the Force card, whatever. Or if you're into foreign stuff, it can go on and on. But I think primarily there's only the 65 figures, right? How many Black Series Star Wars figures are there? Way more than 65. Johnny says, I realized it's a laugh track on movie trailers. You know what the laugh track is? Silence. Pay attention. Silence is the new laugh track, because when a supposed joke is told, yeah.
Hmm.
Or the same thing with the horror movies when they blast music at you out of nowhere. That's your cue to be frightened
Oh.
because it's not actually scary anymore. It's like, bah! And it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be scared. Michael says Magnum PI and Murder She Wrote are two of the funniest shows I've seen. They had a crossover episode. It was bonkers.
Murder She Wrote and Magnum PI had a crossover.
Did
Are you
they?
serious?
Oh wow.
I remember Magnum PI being on. I never knew what it was about though. I just remember they were in Hawaii and they flew in the helicopter and dude had a car and it was some other guy, that told them what to do. But I don't know what it was about.
Yeah.
And I never liked Murder She Wrote.
Johnny's elaborating there. They said
Oh.
that when someone tells a joke, for example, in Nosferatu, that, and this is true,
Mhm.
I know what he's talking about here now, that if a joke is told in a drama or something like that, there is a pause afterwards
Mhm.
because they want it to sink in for you that, oh, that's supposed to be funny.
Oh, okay.
So someone says something and then there's a blank spot for a couple of seconds.
Oh.
Munin says Hasbro seems to overdo every single one of the licenses. That's why it's all at Ollie's. Yeah, and Mattel, they're all doing it.
Did they do a toy line for Cobra Kai?
I don't think so.
No.
That doesn't sound familiar. I hope not. Don't do that. It's bad. Yeah, Remco um, made the original Karate Kid figures. They're awful. They're awful, but they are very nostalgic and expensive. But that's good enough. We don't need another set. We don't need 500 Cobra Kai figures. We really don't. Munin says now NECA will want to make a Magnum PI figure. It's coming. It's coming. And Renard says, I like the 60s Batman series. I thought they got too heavy handed with the camp. What do you think? Well, it was,
We still watching it.
it's supposed to be that way though. But it is only like 3 seasons, and there was a fire, and they didn't want to rebuild anything, so they just kind of canceled it. But it's probably just as well that it ended there.
Mm-hmm.
3 seasons and a film,
Okay.
because there is a movie that made it to theaters. Uh,
Well, the crossover show is supposed to gain new audience. That's
yes.
the point of the crossover, because they're figuring you got some people that's going to watch Magnum PI, is a different group watching Murder She Wrote. So if we merge the two together, the people that watch Magnum PI or watch Murder She Wrote, the people that watch Murder She Wrote might watch Magnum PI.
Yeah.
And then we can get a bigger audience. Not because the budget is going to go up. They're trying to get more views.
But those two don't seem like they go together.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. You know, so that felt like it. That sounds like it would be weird. So
But
I don't know.
we're enjoying the 66 Batman right now.
Yeah.
We watch the 2 episodes a week because they're 2-parters, so they fit together. And it's, again, I mean, if they had drug it out to like 9 seasons, I bet you'd get tired of it. But 3 seasons, that's probably good enough. That's probably good enough. It's fun how the actors are so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
They are so over the top with their acting that, like, and I think that's what makes it fun. I think that's what makes it a lot of fun. I'm not a big fan of the window bit that they did a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of because they couldn't fit everybody in for cameos. It doesn't always work. And the first one is the worst one, which was the Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis, because I mean, he had to be in character because he's Jerry Lewis, and I'm just like, oh, it just didn't feel right.
But you know what makes that kind of annoying is because, okay, when you just look at the show off top, and when it first came out, I'm pretty sure people thought it was cheesy. And when they read the script, they thought it was cheesy, and it was like, oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. I'm too good for it. Then it came out.
And it
was popular. Then it was like, hey, how can I get to be a part of this? Well, you didn't want to have nothing to do with it when we came to you, when we asked you. Now, you better get me in this film. So, well, now we're going to do this window bit so this person can be in it because
he just insists.
Yeah. And it's like, you're going to throw your little weight around.
It's funny because certain characters, certain people like Adam West and like Cesar Romero, when they read the script, they're like, oh crap, I gotta do this. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Because it's a direct parody. It's supposed to look cheesy. But Adam West was like, oh man, I've got to get this part. I've got to do this. This is hilarious. And then other characters like Cesar Romero, who refused to remove his mustache. It's like, but and came up with the laugh himself. That Joker laugh. And
what's his name from Planet of the Apes? He was he was really over the top. Dude from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
you know him.
Roddy McDowall.
Yeah.
Roddy McDowall. But they all were so deep in character that it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it work. Or Frank Gorshin, too, as the Riddler. Frank Gorshin looks like he's going to have a stroke in every episode that he appears in.
David collected the Three Stooges shorts on DVD.
Okay.
Over the span of 30 years. They did repeat their skits. Even though I'm a Stooge fan, they should have stopped after Curly and Shemp died.
Shemp
died.
Yeah, because it was Shemp was the guy that used to do it. Shemp used to do it on their vaudeville act. But then when he was doing other stuff, when they started doing the shorts, and that's where you get Curly. But when Curly had his heart attack, then Shemp came in to fill in for him. And I liked Shemp. I like his approach to it. But yeah, when they were no longer able to do it, and they brought in, they had Joe, and then they had Curly Joe, and Curly Joe was the worst. But those two, yeah, it should have ended right there. But they did end up rehashing some sketches. They even reused previously filmed material in certain spots. So I can get behind that. I know what you're talking about. Oh, Meemaw liked Sequest. Yeah, Playmates.
Yeah, you see those
Um,
around.
yeah, you can find them. They're still cheap. The Playmates Sequest figures are still pretty cheap.
Huh.
At one time in the '90s, that dolphin was selling for quite a bit because nobody could ever find it. But because they had a dolphin that could talk on the show, because you need a talking animal, I'm telling you. But you can. That's one of those franchises you could still get cheap.
Oh, some of the classic skits when a new guy came
Yeah,
in.
Johnny says. And he says, I feel like Batman was cast and written at the bar in the Playboy Mansion. Who knows? But it's fun though.
Yeah, he was the
Yes, he was
bookworm.
Bookworm, and then he also voice acted for Batman the Animated Series as the Mad Hatter. He was the Mad Hatter in
Yeah.
Batman the Animated, but I liked him as Bookworm. And then he wore that awful outfit, that super tight leather outfit that was made out of book bindings, and he could barely move in it.
And then that stupid eyepiece and
He
that
had the
the
lamp,
light, the
the lamp,
lamp on the
the
eyepiece.
lamp on his hat in case he needed to read in an emergency. Yeah, Mickle says Mickey from Rocky is the
Hmm.
Penguin. Um, oh God, what was his name? I'm
He
trying to
was
remember.
on almost every episode of Twilight Zone. Mr. Bemis.
Yeah, he was on
He was
several episodes of
yes,
the
he was
Twilight Zone.
Mr.
He was a
Bemis.
really good actor.
Oh, I cannot
Um,
think of his
I
name
know,
now.
I know. Somebody will tell us
Yeah.
because it's right on the tip of my tongue. I just can't pull it
Mickle
up.
Hayes Sequest. My wife loves it and makes me
Oh
watch that
no!
show for a month.
But he
Regis Meredith,
Meredith. Thank
Meredith,
you.
yeah, Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith, not
Yes,
Regis.
I know.
Regis is from Kathy Lee. Burgess Meredith, but he
Oh,
the
they had an animated Three Stooges.
that's right. There was a
Oh
cartoon show.
Lord,
There was a cartoon show in the was that '60s? Was that the 1960s?
I never watched the Three Stooges. I don't like it. I don't like that slapstick comedy. I'm not too big on comedy anyway, but that slapstick kind I don't
That laugh he used to do was something to clear his
like.
throat because he had quit smoking, and so the cigarette irritated him.
Mm,
So like that's him trying to
clear his
get the
throat.
phlegm out. Which he also came up with.
Hmm.
They improvised a lot of stuff on that show, and they just let him fly with it if it worked. Johnny said there was the animated. Yeah, oh, you just read that.
Yeah.
And they would introduce it, and then they would do the cartoon, and that's who made the who did the comics for that? Was it Dell?
Oh yeah, I have seen their comics before.
Hmm.
I have seen the
They
comics.
had the comics, and a lot of them have photo covers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's mostly Joe Besser on the covers, I believe, which
Mm.
is uh, the last Stooge who would not do or participate in the signature slapstick,
Oh, good.
which took away a lot away from it because that's what everybody expected from him.
Oh.
So everybody like, hey, what the hell is this? You won't. So he had to do it all with Larry. Mo and Larry would beat each other up. Then there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I barely remember. I haven't seen the animated show in forever. And forever, Nostalgic wants to
Oh
cancel
no.
their
Got read the.
read the riot act from his significant other. Uh oh, David's in the doghouse. Oh, well, we have no room in our shelter. Our shelter is full of cats.
Oh no.
Oh no,
No, pre-orders is starting to get
it's too
pretty
much.
annoying, I believe, with just the amount of pre-orders, and then they come out so quick, and then they put out an entire wave at one time instead of, okay, we're going to put out wave one with within the next 6-month period, or in in this year, like every year you put out a wave. No, it's every month you put out a wave.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't give people a chance. And we've talked about this a million times. So, but yeah, I just find it annoying. And I still got a few um pre-orders on Big Bad Toy Store, of course. Cause the one I ordered back in 2023, and they ain't got in yet. And if they cancel it, I wouldn't even care.
Wow.
I wouldn't, because
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
it's you get to not care anymore.
yeah. Then you
Honestly.
forget about
Yeah.
it, and then you get the little notification saying that, oh, we're processing it, and then now it's in your pile of loot, and then you get it, and you're like, man.
I bought this. No, and I've gotten worn out with it, especially like, and I'm glad now that I backed out of the GI Joe classifieds. I
Hmm.
liked the way they looked,
Yeah.
and I'm a fan of the GI Joe. But when I couldn't get them from Target, when I couldn't get any of the Target exclusives, the Cobra Island stuff, I got frustrated. I was like, you know what, enough. I'm not running all over the place looking for these, and I'm
Yeah.
not worrying about con exclusives
Yeah.
that I can't get that cost a fortune. I'm not doing it. I'm done. Um, and there's so many now. I wouldn't know what to do with them. I wouldn't have anywhere to put them. I wouldn't be able to keep up. It's too much.
You can set it on the shelf sideways where you only see the number.
Yeah, and how
Some
much
people.
wall space would even that take up? It's insane. I'd rather just stick to the vintage stuff, target of opportunity, pick it up where and when I can, grab what I can find, like I did with the Dino Riders, which again, this is my first Dino Riders.
Okay.
Yeah, first Dino Riders because I never had these.
Hmm.
Um, although completing this would be a nightmare because
Really? Because it's expensive?
they're very expensive. Yeah,
No.
they're very expensive,
Mm.
especially again the play sets. There's more play sets than there are figure packs. Um, but I would rather do that than worry about any of the modern stuff and trying to find it and spending almost just as much for some of the modern figures as the vintage ones cost. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me.
Mm.
I'm tired of that. I'm done. Um, so I see the stuff when it comes out, and we still do the weekly roundup because it's interesting to look at and
Yeah.
interesting to talk about. But I look at it and I'm like, how much is this? I just can't. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't do it. You know?
Yeah. And then, like, I know we talked about it and we said we were going to do a video of our goals for this year. And I'm revamping
And we
my,
might do a video. I don't mean to cut you
yeah.
off before I forget. We might do one for our best pickups of 2024 as
Yeah.
well.
And I did to get some pickups today because we initially went out because I went on Facebook Marketplace and somebody had just put up some records that they wanted to sell super cheap. And I looked through it. I was like, oh, wow, those are some pretty good records. So I contacted the girl. We went out and we picked up those records. And I got back and they were in great shape. And then some of them, it was one sleeve, but then it had like three records in there, different things. So you're just like, wow, that's nice when you can get a deal. And some of them were really expensive and they were in great shape, but she didn't want nothing for us. Like, hey, I got these and they're in the way, come and take it. And I like buying out record lots because of that. I've gotten really lucky
Yeah.
with that. So those are some things I want to do, and then get more into my classic, not classic, vintage toys, getting some other things, starting some new lines, finishing some lines that I started already, that kind of stuff. David, if you see some of your stuff missing, I just look
Just,
on.
yeah.
It's still yours. It's just on her side. It says
Oh,
Johnny
here we
Future.
go with that. And Blue Splash says they have WMAC Masters action figures from the 90s martial arts show. Pretty decent price for some of them.
Hmm. I never heard of that.
Yeah, and that's why we had done those. We had done 70s, 80s, and 90s action figures that are cheaper than the modern ones.
Yeah, $1,200 for that gorilla.
Oh, yeah, Johnny
Was
says.
it a giant bank? No, it wasn't a bank.
No, it was a solid plastic piece. It looks like it looked like it might have been from that restaurant. You know, they had that rainforest restaurant, and they
Yeah.
also have the dinosaur restaurant, and it's the same chain. It looked like it might have been a prop from there, but I was like, $1,200? Nah, I can't do it. $10, 10 bucks that would have gone and come home with me, but what are you gonna do?
Stone Sour rarely ever buys anything on a roundup, but he still loves watching it.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Congratulations, LPH says Mickle is always fun to get a good deal
Yeah.
plus some hidden goodies. Yeah, and I take a chance on those record lots. A lot of times I've gone out and you look at it and sometimes I'll only see one record that I'm like, oh man, that'll be a nice one. I'll pay $10 for that one.
Yeah.
And then you go get it, and it's like, whoa, it's some great stuff. It's
Yeah.
been one time where I got a dog, but all the other times it was some great stuff. So you can't sleep on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, there was one lot that she wasn't too thrilled with. It was
No.
still okay, but she wasn't. It wasn't too
Yeah.
thrilled with. But most of the time, the record lots turn out to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And Meemaw says, when I look at people's vinyl collections, I can say 95% identify exactly when they joined Columbia House. Oh yeah.
I remember Columbia House,
Mhm.
and when I was doing Columbia House, it was tapes. So I used
Yeah.
to get all of these tapes and go through there. I never did it when they switched over to CDs. After that, and I never did tapes because VCR tapes. I never did VCR tapes. But I remember when they had cassette tapes, and I used to get all these cassette tapes, and then you put it in other people's name and stuff, and they sent it to you. Those were the days. But I
Yeah.
don't think Columbia House and what BMG or something
Yeah,
like that.
BMG Music Club. That sounds
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah. I do like that Storm Collectibles Blanca. I
I
know
know.
soon they will make a
Vega.
Vega, says David Mickle.
Yeah, they look good, but I mean they're $100, almost $100 a pop from the Storm. Yeah. And David says he got Gachimon Ken and pre-ordered Storm Jun, but at that rate it'll be years before all 5 characters are out. He's going to cancel and wait till they're all together. And then Johnny, do you remember those book clubs when you were in elementary
Yes.
school? Yeah, Troll and Arrow.
That's
Yeah,
where I
right.
got my Care Bears record from. And I also bought Schoolhouse Rock, the VHS. It was Schoolhouse Rock, the I'm Just a Bill one. That's the one I had, the VCR tape of that.
Yeah.
And I used to get a bunch of books from them. My parents would let me buy from that book club thing. And I would get books. I got that VCR tape and I got that Care Bears record. The only thing from my childhood that I still
Yeah. But we're past the 2-hour mark.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Sorry again that
Yeah.
technical problems kept Johnny from being able to get in. And it looks like it's a restream issue, but we will try again in the future. We'll try again to get Johnny back on because we've had him on before,
Yeah,
but
we
for whatever
have.
reason, they didn't like him today. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So we'll say thank you everybody for coming in and joining us here today, though we do appreciate it.
Yes.
Special thanks to those of you who made a donation to the channel to help us out with our cat shelter. We appreciate it. We need all the help we can get with the kitties.
I know, especially that one looking over the fence. You better stay behind over there.
Trying to join the club. Another stray from sitting in the wood lines there.
Because our luck, it'll be a female, and she ain't fixed. And then she'll have all kind of babies and bring them over.
Well, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But anyways, thank you guys. I can't stop
cross no bridge.
I can't. I'm not gonna stop a hungry kitty from reaching out to me. But thank you guys for joining us. We do appreciate it. We'll try to work out the bugs with Johnny.
Yeah.
And get him on here again. And we'll do this again sometime.